What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are checking out the Swedish Steel from Electric Eye Audio. Let's do it! I just made that up. Hope you guys are doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle. What I do is I take awesome high gain amplifiers, overdrives, guitar pedals, pickups. I record them with a simple SM57 setup and I look at the camera like a psycho while I'm doing it. I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes with food stains on their shirt, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel on your way out so you don't miss anything else. Thanks. So today, guys, I am reviewing a piece of gear that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, if we're gonna be 100% honest. I traditionally have never really been that big of a fan of the HM2, the Swedish chainsaw type sound. Now, I do love some of the bands that use it. Obviously, Entombed was really the first to kind of employ it. Everything on 10 through the PV practice amp, that is kind of what we all know and love as far as that classic original buzzsaw death metal tone. And over the last 10 years or so, the market for the boutique or tweaked or custom HM2 style pedal has kind of just gone through the roof. And all that stuff has gone right by me. Because I have never really been a huge fan of the way that that pedal sounded with the way that I play, with the things that I play. I have tried on a number of occasions to get it to work for me. The original, my buddy Jason had the Japanese HM2 and so does Derek Verici. And I've tried both of them and it's not what I would go for. So take all that into consideration, guys. I am not the voice on HM2 style pedals whatsoever, but Silas of the Electric Eye Audio was kind enough to send me this pedal to check out and see if I wanted to do some sort of video review for it. And honestly, when I plugged into it, I was able to get some really cool tones out of it without a whole lot of tweaking. So either I finally figured the HM2 thing out, or Silas has created a really good sounding HM2 clone with multiple functionalities that makes it a little bit easier to dial in a normal high gain tone with. And I think that option number 2 is what we're gonna go with, because this thing has been really easy to work with and really easy for me to get a cool, still grindy, still HM2 inspired style tone out of, but not that full balls to the wall, cocked mid, tons of low end type thing where the notes are pretty much indistinguishable. A lot of bands that use this pedal, I hear them and I'm like, okay, I see their hands moving on the fretboard, but I don't really hear any difference in sound coming out of the speakers. So yeah, keep that in mind as I am kind of describing this pedal to you. I am not the authority on those types of tones, but I think that this pedal can get a really nasty, grindy tone out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop reiterating everything that I'm saying over and over again, and we're just gonna go ahead and dive into that pedal. Now for that intro clip, I was using my Balaguer Espada with the Evergreen pickups, which is a high output PAF type thing. We are going into the clean channel of my EVH 5153 EL34 Stealth into a Friedman 2x12 cab with an SM57 on a V30. The only pedal that I had on in the signal chain is the Swedish Steel. I've got the Rev G8 gate gating everything, so that's why everything's nice and quiet, even though we're cranked up in the room right now. But yeah, as you can see, the controls are not really anything crazy. I had the bass turned up, the mids are straight up at noon, and that mid control really makes a lot of difference in the voicing of this pedal, so we'll definitely get into that. The treble was rolled back a little bit because it is bright up top. We've got a gain knob here, but down below here is where the pedal kind of gets really interesting. Over on the left side, you have the tight knob, which is a high pass filter, and the more that you turn that up, the tighter things get, the clankier that they get, the more the mids kind of start to jump out at you. Now you can switch this over to the boost mode. I don't know if this is the purpose of the boost mode, but you can use it as a boost on a high gain channel, I have come to find, and add a little bit of that HM2 flavor into whatever high gain amp that you're playing. So we've got multiple different use cases here. I think that's really cool. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to dial everything back to noon, and we're gonna dive into this pedal a little bit. I'm gonna turn the gain all the way down to 9 o'clock. I'm gonna turn that tight knob all the way down, we'll turn the pedal off. This is my clean tone. So as you can hear, I have a little bit of grit coming from the EVH green channel, but this is where the channel kind of started to fill out with the gain being pushed up that high, and that's where the pedal started to really sound much fuller and a lot less abrasive. So I'm gonna go ahead, kick that pedal in, and just like that, we've got some pretty gnarly high gain tones going. All right, so that right away definitely reminds me of the HM2 thing. I'm gonna run you through the controls, the EQ controls, because they make a huge difference. And when you roll the bass all the way off or all the way up, it will make a huge difference. It's like the controls on here are active because you can cut a significant amount of whatever EQ control that you are messing with if you dial it way back, or you can pump it up quite a bit by pushing it forward, especially in the higher range of that EQ dial. You'll really start to notice how much you can push whatever frequency it is you're adjusting. So as you can see, the low end can be completely removed essentially from the pedal, or it can be pumped to the point where it's pretty much overloading the front end of the clean channel and making it sound really muddy and broken up. So on to the mids. So you can go from a really scooped, almost dime bag sounding tone with the mids pulled all the way out, all the way up to that completely ridiculous, like almost white noise kind of super cocked-wah mid sound as you have the mids pushed all the way over. And here we have the treble. It kind of does a similar thing as the mid knob. It just affects the frequencies a little bit higher, maybe not as high as a traditional treble knob would be, but you can kind of make those two EQ controls interact to fine tune the high end and fine tune the amount of mids. So yeah, everything at noon. All right, so another thing is we have gain here. We're only at 9 o'clock. If we push that up, there's tons of saturation. It just sounds really aggressive. It's kind of like a buzzy overdrive gain, a little bit transistory, but again, with the HM2 style pedals, you're not going for a natural tube style gain. It's supposed to sound raw, raunchy, and honestly ridiculous most of the time. So we're going to push that bass up a little bit. All right, and we are actually going to adjust this tight knob now. So as you can tell, the tight knob makes a huge difference in the reaction of the low end. We can actually probably pull it back even a little bit more than it was right there. I'm going to remove some of the treble from the top because it does get a little bright, and push the mids just a tad. Let's push those mids up a little bit more. So we kind of have that HM2 thing going on, but it's still controllable. The gain, even though the gain is a bit over the top, we can even pull that down a little bit, and we'll get a cleaner style sound through this clean channel. We've still got a punchy bass. We can still hear the notes that are coming out of the speakers. They're not completely just washed in ridiculous mid and high end frequencies that make them indistinguishable. All right, so that's pretty much how I would dial that in. I'd probably add a little bit more treble. All right, I'm getting carried away. Now, just to show you the classic HM2 settings, we're diming everything just for fun, and yeah, I hope that your ears can take it. Completely ridiculous. So I'm gonna pull the treble and the mids back a little bit. All right, now we kind of have a more reasonable setting. That is a riff by a band called Harm's Way, and they actually do use the HM2 on most of their recordings. I don't know if they've used it on their more recent stuff, but they've always either used it heavily or blended it in with another amp, and they're really one of the only bands that I think that can make the pedal sound good, or that style of tone sound good. But again, I think it's blended for the most part, especially on their recordings, just so you can actually kind of hear what's going on. But that is my ideal HM2 style tone, what they have. So yeah, with that being said, let's go over to the boost side on this pedal and see how well it can boost the blue channel of the EVH 5153 and see if it can kind of add that HM2 tone to an already high gain channel without sounding completely ridiculous. Okay guys, so we are on the blue channel of the EVH 5153, and here is what we have as far as the bass tone. All right, let's kick in the Swedish steel. So it definitely adds some of that HM2 flavor to it. There's definitely some compression and some weird kind of scratchy breakup that is being added to the signal. Personally, I don't love it. I actually like the pedal much more on the clean channel. But overall, if you were looking to add this onto an already distorted amp, it adds a heavy flavor of the HM2 thing going on. So I'm gonna dial up the boost because I'm not 100% sure what that does. So maybe towards the end of the dial, it seemed like it added a little bit of output, but overall, it was really hard for me to notice much of a difference. If you guys heard something different coming through the microphone, let me know on your end. But yeah, this pedal reminds me a lot of the kind of tones that I would get out of the Audiority Grindstein plugin that I demoed not too long ago that Christian Kohler worked with Cleartone and Audiority in order to develop. This is kind of like giving me those real life tones. Now, I've never tried the Grindstein pedal, but I know that it's basically based off of an HM2. So this pedal is giving me that same vibe. So I'd have to believe that it's very heavily HM2 flavored. Again, I can't really compare it to any other HM2s because I don't have a lot of experience with them, but I think we're getting some cool tones out of it, but I definitely preferred it over on the clean channel. So let's go back over to the tight mode. Okay, so I am dumb. This whole video, I thought that the switch was like a mode switch between the tight and the boost. No, this just turns the boost on and off. So I'm not 100% sure why it says tight boost. Onto the switch, maybe Silas can jump in and let me know. But yeah, that is why I wasn't notice it doing anything when I had it switched over in the other position because it was off. So there's that. So now that I know that, let's put it on the tight mode and let's go back over to the blue channel and maybe I can get something different out of it. All right, that is definitely way more usable now that I figured the pedal out. I'm glad that I could do that on screen mid-video so you guys could suffer through me not really knowing what I was doing. So anyways, yeah, I think that this pedal is really cool. This will actually give me the opportunity to add some HM2 inspired tones into my arsenal because really I don't have anything physical pedal wise that emulates an HM2, and this does a really good job of boosting the blue channel on this and giving some of that HM2 flavor without it being completely overpowering. I think that last tone that I just dialed in was pretty cool. Now, I personally wouldn't use it on my own, but if I was gonna go ahead and record something, or I was going to play two different amps in a live setting and I really wanted some of that HM2 flavor in my tone, I could run this into the front of one amp and then the other amp run like I normally would, and it would be just enough of a mix to get some of that HM2 tonality into what I was playing without it being completely overpowering and without it completely saturating my main tone. So that is where I see a use case for someone like me. Now, if you guys are super familiar with the HM2 tone, let me know down in the comments. How much do you think that this emulates an HM2? Do you think that it adds some usable features over the normal HM2? I know that I certainly do, and I was able to get good tones out of this thing much easier than I was an actual HM2 pedal. I'm gonna say HM2 a few more times and annoy the hell out of everybody, including myself. But yeah, thanks again to Silas for sending this over to me. I really appreciate it, man. This is a really cool pedal, and I think especially the tight control that we see on the Mud Killer, which Silas also sent me. If you haven't seen my Mud Killer review, go check that out. This has become one of my new favorite boost pedals. The tight control being added to an HM2 style pedal is just genius because it really allows you to fine tune that bass response and make it so it's not so flubby and muddy. But again, let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. I always appreciate reading your thoughts. What did you hear on your end that I didn't hear here in the room? And how do you guys think that I could better utilize this pedal to get some good tones out of it? I'm a noob when it comes to these, so I need you guys' help. Let me know down in the comments and I'll be sure to read them. Down in the description of this video are the support links for my channel, including my Sweetwater affiliate link and Patreon pages, as well as my Discord server and Facebook group links. Consider becoming a member of the Belligerent Amateur community by joining any of that stuff down there. I would greatly appreciate it. If you liked the video, please do me a favor, hit the like button and please the algorithm gods on your way out. Consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any more belligerent amateurness that you witness here in this video. Thanks for watching. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.